What's up, YouTube? East Coast Octane here, sitting in traffic, as usual. So I just left work, had a really interesting conversation with one of my coworkers. He walked over right as I was putting on, just putting on my overpants and jacket to ride home. And he also rides, I'll mention, he rides a real old Honda CBR, like a 91 CBR. But he looked at me putting on my gear and said, "That's too much work." And all I could think, I stepped back and said, "Is it really too much work when you're in the ER getting skin grafts on your ass because you just slid down the pavement for 100 feet? And he's like, "Oh, I've never been downed." Really? That's a dumb way to look at it. So I just said, I guess it's about time. I don't know. I mean, he's an old guy, but he's got the mentality of somebody who's like 19 years old, thinking that I've never been down, it's not going to happen to me. Well, it will happen to you. It's like, even if he's a cautious rider, it can still happen. I know several people who are doing all the right stuff and we're just going around a turn at a normal speed, and then there's somebody pulled out in the middle of the turn, sees the bike, freezes up, and just stops, blocking the whole lane of traffic. What do you do then? You either go into oncoming traffic or you're going to lay your bike down. And I'd rather lay my bike down than risk going into oncoming traffic and having a head-on. So, yeah. Good luck to him. He says he rides in like shorts and tennis shoes mostly. Okay. Have fun with that shit. I try not to judge people, but like, I mean, that would suck. I guess I'll use this as an opportunity to talk about, I went down on the little 250 that you've probably seen me riding before. I kind of just gotten a little 250 from a girlfriend and was trying it out. So I took it for a ride, just, rode it to the gym. Was riding it home, pulling into my own neighborhood, probably going 25, maybe 30 miles an hour max. And there was some big old rocks right in the intersection. And I guess the back wheel hit one. I didn't even see the rocks, but I know I've seen them there. Like after that, I've seen rocks in the intersection. So, yeah, I go pull into my own neighborhood, and the back wheel slips out, and I'm on my ass. And of course, I ran over, had to freaking check out the bike and everything, but I was perfectly fine because even though I just went to the gym, I had on a pair of riding jeans, boots, gloves, and my jacket. And, a speed like that, it doesn't sound like a lot, 30 miles an hour maybe. But if I hadn't had that stuff on, I would have been going to get my hands patched up, going to get my arms patched up, and probably going to get a knee patched up because I had scuffed on my jeans, scuffed on my jacket, and put a hole through the palm of my glove. Now, I didn't have a mark on my hand. The glove did its job, but if I had on just, whatever shorts and t-shirt I was wearing at the gym, that would have been a completely different story. Instead of me being a little butthurt and picking the bike up and having to, replace a foot peg or whatever I had to do to fix the bike, I would have been taking a trip to the hospital to get my hand cleaned out and get my knees cleaned out and elbows cleaned out from skidding down the concrete. It's like, why make it a big deal when it doesn't have to be? And I've had some friends that had a similar incident, and he was actually on a little 250 Ninja. He was on a 250 as well. He wasn't on anything crazy, just riding around. And same deal, he decided, I'm just going around the corner to, wherever. So he didn't put on his gear, he just threw his helmet on and went. I was going through an intersection and hit a gravel spot. Guess what? He ended up having to go to the hospital. Well, it could have been something where he could have just gotten up, picked up the bike and his, ego and gone on his way. He ended up having to go to the hospital and get his knees cleaned up, his ankles cleaned up, and his palms cleaned up. He didn't have if he at least had if he at least had on boots and gloves, he would have been able to pick his bike up and keep going. But he didn't, So he ended up going to the hospital to get cleaned up and had to have bandages on for a couple weeks. This light's a pain in the ass, by the way. So, those are just a couple examples of how much of a difference wearing gear makes. The one thing I can kind of understand people that think it's too hot or whatever, they don't wear it all the time. There are days where I don't want to wear it, but the one that really gets me is so in South Carolina, which is really close to here, it is legal to not wear a helmet. That blows my mind. You see people down there all the time not wearing helmets. You're like, okay, all the other gear is going to save you a trip to the hospital, and some skin grafts and some discomfort. A helmet's going to save your life. So if you don't have on anything else but a helmet, you're going to the hospital and you're going to be bleeding, and there's going to be some risks involved. But if you don't have on a helmet, you're probably just going to die. That's going to take something that you can walk away from or go to the hospital and live another day to something where you aren't the same person again, or you're just straight dead. That's the difference there. So that one blows my mind.